Although he hasn't had a major fly fishing volume come out in over 10 years, James Prosek's contributions to the Angler's Library are significant and worth checking out. And today I will be talking about 6 of his main books and giving my ranking of them on Casting Across. Hi, I'm Matthew of castingacross.com, where I explore the quarry and culture of fly fishing. I have a lot to cover, so I'm going to get right into it. But before I do so, I did want to mention that there are more books by James Prosek that are out there that I'm not talking about. Why is that? Well, I'm really talking about the books that fall into kind of that trout and fly fishing bubble. There's other books, such as Tight Lines. This is the Yale Angler's Journal kind of compiled, where he is the illustrator. Great book. There's also a book called A Good Day's Fishing, which is a kid's picture book that is by Prosek. Excellent book. He has a book about eels. He has a book about ocean fishes. Fantastic books, worth checking out. But today I'm focusing more on the trout and fly fishing library that you can get from James Prosek. So the first one, which again, great book, nothing wrong, just kind of at the bottom of my list of the 6 I'm sharing today, is Fly Fishing the 41st. It is his experience and adventure going around the world, following the same latitude, looking for fish and talking to the people that fish for them. So he starts from his home and then he goes into Europe and Asia. It's a fun, quick read. It's the kind of read where if you want some diversity in your autobiographical exploits, you're going to get that here. He's not staying in one place. He's moving all over the place. And again, the fish are good, but the people that he interacts with are really where you get your money's worth in Fly Fishing the 41st. Next book is similar, and you might argue that this should be higher in a list, but it's my list, not your list. And that is Trout of the World. And a book like this is where Prosek shines, because not only do you get his prose in his research, but you also get his absolutely stunning watercolor work. And some of these fish are so beautiful that it really kind of makes you sad that you'd have to travel probably 360 days a year to encounter all of them, maybe even in your lifetime. But not just the watercolors, but he also gives descriptions of the fish, environmental notes, conservation issues, and kind of some experiences he has looking for these fish and the folks that know them very well. So great book. It is way more than a coffee table book and worth looking into yourself. The next book I don't have anymore. Somebody out there has it. Early Love and Brook Trout is a book I owned at one point in time, but I cannot find it. I haven't seen it in years. So if you have it, you can drop me a line just so I know where it is. I'll go out and buy a new copy for myself. But Early Love and Brook Trout is talking about his fish. He is a Connecticut native, and brook trout are, of course, the native fish of the East Coast. And it talks about his experience fishing for these, his love of them, and also his, as the title suggests, finding love. So it's kind of a coming-of-age story for him as a young man, but spending time fishing for these fish that he absolutely treasures. And so as an East Coast angler, I would say it's an invaluable addition to your brook trout library. The next book is kind of a step back in time for him, and it's called Joe and Me. Now, this book is just a beautiful book. There are illustrations in it, but it's the binding. I just absolutely love it. Part of it is, it came out in 1997. This is right when I started fly fishing, and there's so many points of continuity and so many things that you can probably identify with because it talks about friendship and mentorship for a young angler and the man that pour into his life. And so if you are a young angler, definitely check this book out. If you have a young angler in your life, or there's maybe one coming up in your life, Joe and Me, it's a quick, fun, autobiographical read that really kind of then flows into Early Love and Brook Trout. Top 2. Complete Angler, spelled different than Walton's Complete Angler, but not on mistake or not without intention, because this is Prosek going over fishing where Walton fished, wading in Walton's footsteps, and kind of giving an idea and a picture of the world of Isaac Walton, which is a fantastic thing. If you've tried to read Walton, you say, I'm going to read fly fishing books, and you open up a Complete Angler, not this one, the EAT Complete Angler, and you say, this is painful, this is hard, I don't understand a lot what's going on. This isn't exactly Cliff Notes. It's not. It's his autobiographical experience going to where Walton fished, but it gives you kind of a perspective and some local flavor as well as some background for Walton's work. And again, it has his illustrations in it, which are definitely worth checking out. So Complete Angler is a really fun read, especially if you're into fly fishing history or you're just getting into fly fishing history. Top of the pile, however, is trout. So trout is what I would say the familiar version of trout of the world is. So although there's fish I'm never going to see in trout of the world, I know these guys. The Oregon red band trout, I can go and fish for them relatively easy. I can find the Snake River cutthroat if I want to, and it's not going to require a visa. Bull trout, same thing. I've shown a bunch of West Coast fish, but I think what you can understand is that this is an exploration of the trout of the United States, of North America, that you and I, if you live in the United States, can find, and he gives information, both background information, conservation information, and then anecdotal stuff that makes it really come alive. But the watercolors are absolutely beautiful, vivid, and worth price of admission alone. This is the kind of book that I think should be on every angler's shelf. This is a less dense and less scientific version of Trout and Salmon of North America, a book by the late Dr. Robert Behnke that I reviewed earlier on Casting Across. All that said, all of these books are worth reading. They're all worth checking out. I highly recommend every one of them. And if you have a different order of operations of where you'd put these in this order, let me know in the comments below, or let me know over at Casting Across, where you can go to check out 3 posts a week on the people, places, and things that go into the pursuit of fish.